Hello, welcome to this assignment overview video for Educational Resource Management in Post-Secondary Education. One of the first assignments that you're asked to complete in this course is a reflective essay on your philosophy of educational resource management. This video provides a brief overview of the assignment, details the requirements for the paper, and I'll share some tips and advice for crafting a well-written essay. A theme that permeates this course is the understanding that resource management in post-secondary education is more than just comprehension of economic principles and theories as applied to a higher education context. It's acknowledging that resource allocation is in a sense a philosophical endeavor. A budget is where an organization demonstrates its priorities, its values, and its objectives. I've shared a quote here by Joe Biden that I think really reflects this theme. He says, "Don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value." So before we dig into economic theory and principles that we'll cover in this class, we're going to spend some time reflecting on your perceptions about the purpose of education and how that might impact your views on educational resource allocation. To help facilitate your thinking about educational philosophy, one of the first reading assignments is an article by Christopher Jenks on educational opportunity and equity. Jenks invites us to consider how the distribution of resources impacts equality and equity. He provides many examples that should stimulate your thinking about educational resource allocation. And he presents lenses that help illustrate different ways of approaching resource allocation. As you're reading through the article, consider the extent to which you agree with these philosophical frameworks and how they connect to your own experiences with educational resource allocation. After reading the article, you're asked to write an essay on your beliefs about the purpose of a higher education and how that relates to your thinking about resource management. As indicated in the syllabus, in the essay you should briefly state what you believe are the purposes of higher education, and then reflect upon which of the 5 philosophical frameworks discussed in the article best reflect your beliefs about resource allocation, and provide some examples of the decisions that you've made in terms of educational resource management and how these examples connect to the philosophical frameworks discussed in the article. Here you're welcome to draw upon your experiences as an employee, as a student, as a parent, or simply as a citizen. So feel free to be creative. In terms of essay requirements, the paper should be 2 to 3 pages, double-spaced. I strongly encourage you to refer to the rubric for this paper and for all other assignments in this course. The rubric is a tool for you to make sure that you've covered all facets of the assignment. I'd recommend that you refer to it before you begin writing and then use it as a checklist after you've completed your essay to make sure that you've covered everything. For formatting guidelines, refer to APA 6th edition. Finally, here are just a few tips and some advice. In this paper, you're asked to make a reference to philosophical frameworks, so be sure to provide a brief explanation of the philosophical framework when you make reference to it. So for example, if you note that utilitarianism resonates with your views on resource allocation, be sure to briefly explain what utilitarianism means and why it corresponds with your perspective. Secondly, you get to decide how to structure this essay, but be sure that your paper flows, by which I mean be sure that your reader can follow your discussion. A good way to check for this is to ensure that each sentence connects to the previous one. Also, include an engaging introduction and thesis statement where you clarify the purpose and intent of the essay for your reader. Also include a summary where you pull everything together and you leave your reader with a sense of the main points of the essay. As a last note, the aim of the paper is to reflect upon the Jenks article, so be sure to cite him where appropriate. That concludes this overview of the reflective essay assignment. As always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to post a question in the discussion board. I hope you'll enjoy this article and the reflection essay. I encourage you to allow the assignment to set the stage for thinking critically and philosophically about budgeting and resource management throughout the rest of this course.